Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to stand here with all of you today. As we begin, I want to ask you something. How often do we find ourselves waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, or for someone to hand us a chance? The truth is, waiting rarely leads to progress. Life doesn't always present us with neatly packaged opportunities. If we want something meaningful, something lasting, we can't wait for it to come to us. We have to create it. And today, I want to talk about how we can take control, take initiative, and build the opportunities we've been waiting for. There's something remarkable about the human spirit, our ability to dream, to envision a better tomorrow, and to create something extraordinary. Yet, so often we find ourselves waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity, or the right set of circumstances to present themselves. We wait for permission, for validation, for that elusive sign that it's finally time to begin. But let me tell you something, if you wait for the perfect opportunity, you'll be waiting forever. Opportunity doesn't come to those who sit idly by. It comes to those who are willing to step forward, to take initiative, and to start, no matter how small. Taking initiative is about saying, I refuse to let my circumstances define my potential. I choose to take control of what I can, to create the momentum that will carry me forward. It's not about having all the answers. It's not about being 100% ready. It's about having the courage to take the first step, even when the path ahead isn't fully clear. I want you to think about a time in your life when you hesitated because you didn't feel ready. Maybe it was applying for a job, starting a project, or pursuing a passion. You told yourself, I'll wait until I have more experience, or I'll wait until I feel more confident. And then what happened? The moment passed. The opportunity you were waiting for never came. And you were left wondering, what if? That hesitation, it's not about a lack of ability. It's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of stepping into the unknown. But here's the truth. Every great achievement in history began with a single step taken in the face of uncertainty. Do you think the Wright brothers waited for someone to hand them a blueprint for building an airplane? No. They started with a dream, a passion for flight, and a willingness to try, fail, learn, and try again. Their success wasn't handed to them. It was created through relentless effort, one small step at a time. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. It means understanding that big dreams are built on small, consistent actions. If you want to write a book, you don't start by waiting for inspiration to strike. You start by writing a single sentence, then another and another. If you want to run a marathon, you don't wait until you feel like an athlete. You lace up your shoes and take that first jog around the block. The beauty of starting small is that it creates momentum. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. At first, it feels impossible. But with each push, the boulder moves a little further. And before you know it, you're at the top, looking back at how far you've come. Momentum is powerful because it builds confidence. Each small step forward reinforces the belief that you are capable, that progress is possible, that you have what it takes to create your own opportunities. And once you have momentum, there's no stopping you. But none of this happens if you don't take initiative. Initiative is the spark that ignites the fire. It's what separates those who wait from those who create. It's the willingness to say, I may not have all the answers, but I'm going to start anyway. You don't need permission to chase your dreams. You don't need someone else to tell you that you're ready. You don't need all the resources or all the knowledge. What you need is the courage to begin, the resilience to keep going, and the belief that you are capable of turning your vision into reality. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that sounds great, but what if I fail? Let me ask you this, what's worse, failing or never trying? Failure is not the end. It's a stepping stone, a lesson, a necessary part of the journey. But waiting, hesitating, letting fear hold you back, that's the real failure. Because when you wait, you're not just missing out on opportunities, you're missing out on growth, on discovery, on becoming the person you were meant to be. Think about the entrepreneurs who built businesses from nothing, the artists who created masterpieces without formal training, the leaders who rose to greatness despite humble beginnings. They didn't wait for someone to hand them a golden opportunity. They created it by taking initiative and starting small. So ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today to move closer to my goals? What's one action I can take right now to create the opportunity I've been waiting for? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be a start. Picture this: you're sitting at your desk, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect break, or the perfect opportunity. Days go by, weeks pass, maybe even years, and you wonder why nothing's changing. Here's the truth: opportunities don't come gift wrapped. They aren't delivered on silver platters. Opportunities are made, they're built by those who have the courage to act. When we wait, we surrender control, waiting for the world to align in our favor, waiting for someone to notice us, waiting for luck. It's all passive. But what if you flipped the script? What if you took charge, not of what happens to you, but of what you do with the circumstances you're given? This is where a growth mindset changes everything. A growth mindset isn't about pretending you have all the answers, it's about believing that the answers can be found. It's about realizing that skills can be developed, that failures are lessons, and that every setback is a setup for a comeback. Think about Thomas Edison. He didn't wait for the light bulb to invent itself. He didn't stop after one failure, or 10, or 100. Instead, he saw each failed attempt as a step closer to success. That's the growth mindset in action, a refusal to let setbacks define you. You don't need permission to start building the life you want. Too often, we wait for validation, for someone to tell us we're good enough. But let me ask you, who gets to decide that? Who gets to define what you're capable of? The answer is you. Only you. The moment you decide to act, the moment you take that first step, you've already created your first opportunity. And here's the thing about opportunity: it multiplies. When you take initiative, you not only create opportunities for yourself, but you inspire others to do the same. People gravitate toward action, toward momentum. They see what you're doing and want to be part of it. That's the ripple effect of leadership. Leadership, by the way, isn't about waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect team. It's about starting where you are with what you have and inspiring others to move forward with you, even when you don't have all the answers. Especially when you don't have all the answers. Let's talk about fear for a moment, because fear is what keeps so many of us stuck. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish. But here's what I've learned: fear is a compass. The things we're most afraid of often point us directly to the areas where we have the greatest opportunity for growth. If you're waiting for fear to disappear before you act, you'll be waiting forever. The secret isn't to eliminate fear, it's to embrace it, to step into it, to let it fuel you. Every time you face your fears, you grow, you get stronger, wiser, more resilient. Growth is uncomfortable, it's messy, but it's also transformative. When you embrace a growth mindset, you stop seeing challenges as barriers and start seeing them as invitations. Invitations to learn, to stretch, to become the person you were meant to be. Let's talk about preparation, real preparation. The kind of preparation that goes beyond waiting. The kind of preparation that doesn't stop at hope or optimism. Because the truth is, hope is not a strategy. Optimism is not a plan. And waiting, my friends, is not action. When I talk about preparation, I mean something much deeper. It's not about knowing every answer or having a perfectly mapped out plan. It's about being adaptable, ready to face what you didn't expect, and creating something extraordinary when the perfect conditions don't exist. Let me give you an example. Think about the Wright brothers. They didn't wait for the perfect technology to exist. They didn't wait for someone to hand them an opportunity to build the first airplane. They prepared themselves for failure, for resistance, for doubt. They worked tirelessly in a bicycle shop and piece by piece created their opportunity. What would have happened if they waited? If they said, let's wait for better tools, or let's wait for more funding? They didn't wait because they understood this critical truth: opportunities aren't things you wait for. They are things you make. Now, let me ask you this. How do you prepare for the unexpected? It's a paradox, isn't it? How do you prepare for something you don't know is coming? The answer lies in your mindset. It lies in your ability to be resourceful, to adapt, to embrace change, even when it's uncomfortable. Preparation isn't just about gathering resources or making plans. It's about building resilience. Resilience to face challenges, resilience to navigate failure, and resilience to keep going even when it feels like you're moving backward. Think about that word for a moment: resilience. It doesn't mean you won't fall. It means you'll get back up every single time you do. Too often, we confuse preparation with perfection. We think, I need to have all the answers before I start, but perfection is the enemy of progress. If you wait for perfection, you'll wait forever. True preparation is about progress, not perfection. It's about taking the next step, even when you don't have all the answers. Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward." This means that sometimes preparation doesn't feel like preparation. It feels like small, insignificant steps. But those steps matter. They add up. They are the foundation of every opportunity you create. Here's the reality: life is unpredictable. The opportunities you imagine today might not exist tomorrow. The challenges you expect might never come. But it's not the circumstances that define you. It's how you respond to them. It's what you do when the unexpected happens. I want you to think about a moment in your life when everything changed unexpectedly. Maybe it was a job you didn't get, a relationship that ended, or a goal that suddenly felt out of reach. In that moment, you had two choices: to wait and hope for things to get better, or to take action and create your own opportunity. Which did you choose? When we look at the most successful people in history, we see a common theme: they didn't wait. They didn't sit around hoping for someone else to open a door. They found a way to create their own door and walk through it. Let's talk about adaptability. Being adaptable means letting go of the idea that the world owes you anything. It means recognizing that success isn't about what you're given, it's about what you do with what you have. Take Thomas Edison. He didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. In fact, he failed thousands of times. But every failure was a lesson, a step closer to success. He once said, "I have not failed." I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's the mindset of someone who creates opportunities rather than waiting for them. Preparation for the unexpected isn't just about planning for success. It's also about preparing for failure. Because failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the process. It's a step on the journey. So how do you prepare for failure? You embrace it. You stop seeing it as a roadblock and start seeing it as a stepping stone. Every failure teaches you something valuable. Every failure brings you closer to your goal. I want to challenge you to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What can I learn if I fail?" Instead of thinking, "What if this doesn't work?" think, "What can I create if this doesn't work?" You see, the unexpected isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. Because in the unexpected, there is opportunity. Opportunity to grow, to innovate, to create something new. Every great achievement started with uncertainty. Every great invention, every groundbreaking idea, every life-changing moment began with someone stepping into the unknown and saying, "I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try anyway." And that's the essence of preparation. It's not about knowing exactly what's coming. It's about being ready to act no matter what comes your way. It's about having the courage to take the first step, even when the path ahead isn't clear. Preparation is about discipline. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient. It's about doing the work, not because you have guarantees, but because you have faith in the process. And let me tell you, faith in the process is one of the most powerful things you can have. Because when you trust the process, you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission. You stop waiting for opportunity and you start creating it. Now, let's talk about action. Preparation without action is just procrastination. You can plan all you want, but if you don't take that first step, you'll never get anywhere. Action is where the magic happens. It's where you turn your preparation into reality. It's where you take everything you've learned, everything you've built, and put it into motion. Let me be clear, action doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something. Because even the smallest step forward is progress. Think about this: every major accomplishment started with a single step. Every successful business started with one idea. Every marathon began with one step. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just have to start. So what's holding you back? What's stopping you from taking that first step? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the belief that you're not ready? Let me tell you something: you'll never feel completely ready. And that's okay. Because readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's the decision to act, even when you're scared, even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain, even when you don't know what's going to happen next. Let's take this deeper. Action and preparation are not separate ideas, they're two sides of the same coin. Every action you take builds your preparation for the next challenge. When you take action, you gain experience. You learn what works and what doesn't. You begin to see patterns and develop insights that you couldn't have imagined before. And when you prepare, you give yourself the tools to make your actions more effective. But here's the thing: action without preparation can lead to chaos. and preparation without action leads to paralysis. You need both. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. It's about moving forward step by step and learning as you go. Now, let me tell you a story about someone who didn't wait for opportunity, they created it. Think about Oprah Winfrey. She wasn't handed a golden ticket to success. She grew up in poverty, faced countless obstacles, and endured unimaginable hardships. But she didn't let those circumstances define her. She prepared herself by becoming a voracious learner, by taking every small opportunity and turning it into something bigger. When she landed her first TV job, it wasn't a major network or a glamorous position, it was a small local station. But she showed up, put in the work, and made the most of it. She didn't wait for the perfect role or the perfect moment. She created her own moment. She turned every no into a challenge to do better. She turned every setback into a stepping stone. That's what it means to create opportunity. Now think about your own life. How many times have you waited? Waited for the right time, the right resources, the right opportunity. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start when I'm ready, or I'll act when the circumstances are better? Let me tell you something, there is no right time. There is no perfect moment. Waiting is the enemy of progress. And every moment you spend waiting is a moment you could be using to build, to grow, to create. When you prepare for the unexpected, you take control of your life. You stop being a passive observer and become an active participant. You stop reacting to the world around you and start shaping it. This isn't just about work or career. It's about every aspect of your life. It's about relationships, personal growth, health, and happiness. Because the truth is, opportunities don't just show up, they're created by the choices you make every single day. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine that you're standing at the edge of a cliff. Below you is uncertainty. It's fear. It's failure. But it's also opportunity. It's growth. It's the life you've always dreamed of. Now you have two choices. You can stand there, waiting for someone to build you a bridge, waiting for someone to tell you it's safe, waiting for the perfect conditions, or you can take a leap of faith. You can jump, knowing that you've prepared yourself for the landing, knowing that even if you stumble, you'll get back up. Preparation for the unexpected doesn't mean eliminating risk. It means embracing it. It means understanding that risk is a necessary part of growth. Think about every great innovator, every leader who has changed the world. Did they wait for someone to give them permission? Did they wait for the stars to align? No, they took risks. They acted. They created their own opportunities. Take Elon Musk, for example. He didn't wait for the world to catch up to his vision. He didn't wait for the perfect market conditions to launch Tesla or SpaceX. He prepared himself by learning, by experimenting, by failing over and over again. And when the time came, he acted. He didn't let fear of failure hold him back, because he understood that failure isn't the end, it's a beginning. It's a chance to learn, to adapt, to grow. And that's what I want you to take away from this. Failure is not your enemy. Inaction is, waiting is, fear is. When you prepare for the unexpected, you give yourself the freedom to fail, because you know that failure isn't a dead end, it's a stepping stone. So how do you start? How do you prepare for the unexpected? You start by changing your mindset. You stop seeing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself permission. You take small steps every single day. You learn something new, you meet someone new, you try something you've never tried before. And you do it not because you're guaranteed success, but because every step you take brings you closer to creating your own opportunity. You stop asking, what if I fail, and start asking, what if I succeed? You stop saying, I'll wait for the right time, and start saying, the time is now. When you embrace this mindset, everything changes. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to create solutions where others see problems. Let me give you a personal example. When I started my journey as a speaker, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't have a grand plan. But I had a belief that I could make a difference. And I prepared myself for every opportunity by learning, by listening, by showing up. There were times when I felt like giving up. Times when I wondered if I was on the right path. But I didn't wait for someone to tell me I was ready. I didn't wait for someone to open a door. I kept moving forward, step by step. Okay. Let's talk about work, Not just any work, but the work you're doing right now. Because here's the thing, far too many of us sit and wait. We wait for the boss to notice us. We wait for the promotion to come our way. We wait for someone to tap us on the shoulder and say, it's your turn now, but what if I told you that waiting is the surest way to lose? You see, opportunity isn't a lottery ticket. It's not something handed out at random. It's built, it's cultivated, it's earned. And more often than not, it's created by leveraging the very work you're already doing. Every single day is a chance to show up, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and creatively, and find ways to do more, be more, and offer more than anyone expects. Think about it. How many people in your workplace or your field are doing the bare minimum? How many are just trying to get through the day? Now, how many are actively looking for ways to solve problems before they're told to? How many are stepping outside their defined roles to create value for others? My guess is not many. And that's the point. Creating opportunity isn't about waiting for the right moment, it's about making moments, right? It's about stepping back, looking at your situation, and asking yourself, what can I do here to make a difference? It could be as simple as helping a colleague who's struggling with a task. It could be identifying an inefficiency in the way things are done and proposing a solution. It could be offering to take on a project that no one else wants because you see the potential in it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but Simon, I'm stuck in a dead-end job. There's no room for growth here. How can I create opportunity when the environment is so limiting and my response is always the same? Growth doesn't come from the environment. It comes from you. You could be in the most uninspiring job imaginable, and still you have the power to make it a stepping stone to something greater. How? By reframing the way you see your work. Stop thinking of your job as just a paycheck. Start thinking of it as a platform for learning, for building relationships, and for demonstrating your worth. Every skill you acquire, every connection you make, every problem you solve, it all adds up. There's a story I love to tell about a young man who worked as a janitor in a large corporation. By most people's standards, his job was about as low level as it gets. But he didn't see it that way. He saw his role as an opportunity to make an impression. He noticed that employees often left their desks in disarray, which made it harder for the cleaning team to do their work efficiently. So he came up with a simple system to help employees organize their spaces at the end of the day. At first, no one noticed. But over time, managers began to see the difference. Productivity went up, morale improved, and the janitor's efforts were recognized. He was eventually offered a role in operations, where he continued to thrive. That young man didn't wait for someone to hand him an opportunity. He created one by leveraging the work he was already doing. It's a lesson we can all learn from. Too often we undervalue the impact of small, consistent efforts. We think that unless we're making some grand gesture or achieving some massive milestone, we're not making progress. But the truth is, opportunities are born in the small, everyday moments. They're born in the way you approach your tasks, the way you interact with your colleagues, and the way you respond to challenges. Speaking of challenges, let's address those for a moment. Because let's face it, creating opportunities isn't always easy. There will be obstacles. There will be setbacks. There will be times when you feel like nothing you do is making a difference. But here's what I want you to remember: challenges are not roadblocks, they're stepping stones. Every challenge you face is an opportunity in disguise. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to prove what you're capable of. The question is, are you willing to see it that way? Are you willing to embrace discomfort, take risks, and push yourself beyond what's comfortable? Because that's what it takes to create something extraordinary. When I think about the most successful people I've met, they all have one thing in common: they didn't wait for the perfect job, the perfect conditions, or the perfect timing. They took what they had, where they were, and they made something of it. They leveraged their work, their skills, their connections, their experiences, and they used it as a springboard to bigger and better things. But let's not romanticize this process. Creating opportunities isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes it feels like you're putting in all this effort and no one is noticing. But trust me, someone is always noticing. And even if they're not, the growth you're experiencing, the skills you're developing, and the mindset you're cultivating are worth it. Think about this: every effort you make to create opportunity is an investment in your future. It's like planting seeds. Some will sprout quickly, while others might take years to bear fruit. But the more seeds you plant, the greater your chances of reaping a harvest. And here's the beautiful thing about creating opportunities: it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you take initiative, when you go above and beyond, when you solve problems and add value, you're not just elevating yourself, you're elevating yourself, you're elevating the entire team, the entire organization, and sometimes even the entire industry. So the question is, what are you waiting for? If you're sitting around waiting for someone to recognize your potential, stop. Recognize it yourself. If you're waiting for the perfect opportunity to come along, stop. Create it yourself. If you're waiting for circumstances to change, stop. Change them yourself. Opportunity isn't a gift. It's a responsibility. It's something you build brick by brick, day by day through your actions, your mindset, and your willingness to do the work. So start now. Start where you are. Start with what you have and watch how the world opens up to you in ways you never imagined. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. How many of you have ever waited for a moment when everything feels just right? That golden opportunity where you think the stars will align, where success seems almost inevitable. Most of us have at some point or another. But here's the truth: the stars rarely align on their own. The perfect opportunity doesn't just show up at your doorstep. If you want something extraordinary, you have to go out and build it yourself. Too often, we get stuck in the mindset of waiting for permission, for luck, for the right timing. It's like standing at a bus stop in the middle of nowhere, hoping a ride will come along. But what if there's no bus? What if there's no road? Waiting in that scenario is futile. To succeed, we have to build the road ourselves and start walking. Vision before opportunity. Creating opportunity starts with a vision. Think about the Wright brothers. They didn't sit around waiting for someone to invent flight. They had a vision. They didn't know how they would do it, but they knew why they wanted to. It wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about solving a problem, about pushing humanity forward. That vision drove them to create something that didn't exist before. The same applies to all of us. If you don't have a clear vision of where you want to go, you'll never know how to get there. And if you don't know how to get there, you'll just sit there waiting for an opportunity to come along and take you somewhere. Vision is the foundation of action, and without it, we're stuck. The role of curiosity and courage. Creating opportunities requires two fundamental traits: curiosity and courage. Curiosity to explore what's possible, to look beyond what's obvious, and to ask questions that others don't think to ask. Courage to take the first step, to fail, and to try again. Curiosity is what drives innovation. It's the spark that makes you wonder. What if it's what pushes us to look at the world not as it is, but as it could be? And courage is what allows us to act on that curiosity. Without courage, curiosity remains just an idea. It's easy to be curious. It's hard to be brave. Think of entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. He didn't wait for someone else to make electric cars mainstream or to take humanity to Mars. He asked questions no one else was asking and had the courage to chase answers. He didn't wait for the right conditions, he created them. Failure is part of creation. Here's a reality check: if you're going to create your own opportunities, you're going to fail probably more than once. But failure isn't the end, it's a beginning. Failure teaches us, refines us, and forces us to adapt. Waiting for an opportunity to fall into your lap might protect you from failure, but it also shields you from growth. I love the story of Thomas Edison. When asked about his failures while inventing the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of someone who doesn't wait for opportunities but creates them. Every failure is a step forward because it brings clarity and insight. Collaboration and relationships. Creating opportunities isn't a solo endeavor. It's about building relationships and leveraging the power of collaboration. No great achievement was ever accomplished in isolation. Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak. The Wright brothers had each other. Even individual sports champions have teams of coaches, mentors, and supporters behind them. Collaboration is about mutual value. It's not just about asking, "What can I get?" but also, "What can I give?" When you create opportunities for others, you inherently create opportunities for yourself. The connections you build, the trust you earn, and the impact you have on others will come back to you in ways you can't predict. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is reliable. Creating opportunities isn't always glamorous or exciting. It's often mundane, filled with hard work, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But it's in those moments that discipline matters most. The author James Clear talks about the concept of showing up even when you don't feel like it. That's discipline. And that's what separates those who wait for opportunities from those who create them. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to start.